Good afternoon. My name is Sharon Gates, and I'm here to share with you my grand challenge, which is to ensure the healthy development of all youth. Now, I want you to take a second and reimagine young people who are happy, healthy, succeeding in life, gainfully employed, and educated. Now, before we get there, we have to travel back to the early 19th century when our youth were living primarily in the South with their families, and the Jim Crow laws were in full effect. Jim Crow is a law that enforces segregation, and this law prevents you from traveling where you want, voting rights. It also restricts you to from restaurants that you might want to journey to, and movie theaters where you might want to sit, traveling at night, and then also a proper education and job opportunities. Jim Crow. So African Americans living in the South said, I'm tired of this. We want our freedom. I want opportunities for my kids. I want to live a happy, healthy life. I've got to move. A clarion call went out encouraging folks to move north, and 500,000 people moved from the early 1900s to the 1950s into the 60s. And these folks moved primarily to big cities like Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, and they were looking for the land of milk and honey. That's how it was described to them. In particular, Chicago, black folks were called to come by the editor in chief of the Chicago Defender, and they came. And then white folks said, wait a minute, we can't have all these black folks living here. So what they did, just living anywhere. So what they did, they took a map of the city of Chicago, drew a red line, and said, this is where you could live, the west side or the south side of Chicago. And because so many people were still coming, and overcrowding ensued. Overcrowding, slums developed, and then also the schools were deplorable, and there was no living wage. And so, because of that, a movement was formed called the Chicago Freedom Movement, and the leaders called for Dr. King to come to Chicago and bring attention to the problem. And he did. And he met with religious leaders, politicians, bankers, and the like. No one was really listening. And so he lived here for a year, actually, on the west side. And then he said, let's march. And march they did. And that march, they threw debris, rocks, particularly at Dr. King where he was injured. Dr. King said, Chicago is the most segregated city in the nation. He left, and a year to the date of his departure, of him leaving Chicago, he was assassinated. And the country went up in flames. Chicago especially, and especially the west side, because people felt all hope was lost. And what else could they do to express their unhappiness, their displeasure? They set it on fire. And the mayor at the time, Mayor Daley, said, okay, you set your community on fire, it will not be rebuilt for 50 years. And he was right. Industry left. What industry was there left. People who could moved. Many people could not. They couldn't afford to go anywhere else. You had a lot of vacant, empty lots. People overcrowding was worse because people moved in with each other. So for 50 years, the West Side languished. And I want to share with you a school that at the same time was languishing. Um, it evolved. So it started out as a school dedicated to white males. It was a prep school. And then they started admitting females. Then they developed a community college, a huge school, moved in, and the school moved out, and it became the first city college, um, Malcolm X, what we know today. And then the school became a vocational school, and then a technical school, and then unfortunately a school where no one was interested in any form of learning, whether it was being taught or being on the learner side. And there was an unfortunate incident on the steps of the school, and a child was murdered over a baseball cap. That's when the community said, that's it, close the school. And the alumni said, don't close it, change it, have it redirected. And that's what they did. It sits in the Illinois Medical District, so they turned it into a Met Prep program. And then I was invited to come and help transform the school and offer support by adopting 10 kids. But I couldn't just walk in for 10 kids. My focus was the entire school and how can we help them. And especially since you look at the graduation rates and you look at the pipeline to prison. And I wanted every child that wanted it to succeed. So we went in with our volunteers. And then, so encouraging kids to become doctors, nurses, you name it. But then the opportunity came to create an innovation. And that innovation is Epic, which is a $1 billion company that develops an electronic health record. And half the patients in the world are on Epic. And if you get certified in Epic with a high school diploma in one hand, certification in the other, and 2 years of experience, you can earn a 6-figure degree. So we got busy helping these kids become employable, teaching them the soft skills. We took them up to Verona, Wisconsin, where Epic is headquartered. And there, the kids learned Epic. They trained on it. They came back to Chicago, and they studied for the certification and passed. And today, 100% of the kids are graduating from high school because they have that carrot that we waved in front of them, this great job opportunity. And then they also, 100% of the kids in totality of the graduating seniors graduated and received a high school diploma. That's awesome. 35 kids became certified, are certified. 15 are working at Rush, and 10 have been scooped up by Lurie, the #1 children's hospital in the country. And we have 30 more that are in the process of studying for certification. And then finally, 25 that are being trained virtually because of COVID. And the goal is for these kids to become certified by the end of the summer. It has been a game changer for these young people because working part-time, they get paid $30. $30 an hour. That's incredible. Work study doesn't pay that. And they can help put themselves through college. So with that, our students are happy, healthy, succeeding, and becoming wonderfully educated. Thank you.